Episode 10, February 8th, 2011. Howard and Kevin, open your mail. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. What do you think? That was my little tribute to Cabaret.
Cabaret?
Yeah. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome in Cabaret. Oh, Cabaret to Cabaret.
It's good.
It's a little Joel Grey tribute.
Oh, Joel Grey.
I feel like we probably have a lot of listeners who are into like 1960s Broadway musicals.
Would Liza have been in Cabaret? Was that
yes,
that kind of thing?
That was Liza, yeah.
I recently watched one of those old Liza movies, whatever. just one of her like live performances, and it was one of those things where you actually realize why they're famous.
Yeah.
Some people are so past their prime that you don't understand why they're famous at all. And sometimes you go back and see these amazing performances they actually did way back in the heyday of their career, and I was blown away. She was really good.
Liza Minnelli.
I was amazed. Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And I'm not even a gay man.
And yet still can appreciate
Liza. Dancing and singing. It's strange. Anyhow, hello and welcome to the Howard and Kevin Open Your Mail podcast.
Willkommen, Fräulein und Herren. I'm decided we want to.
I love Germans.
I think sometime recently we were trying to increase our Spanish listening audience.
That's right. Yeah.
Now
I think
we're going for the German speakers this time.
Oh, it's good.
Willkommen. Yes, Kevin.
Howard.
It's very exciting to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here too.
And do you know what?
What's that?
This is our 10th episode. It's episode 10.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe that? Isn't that exciting?
Yes,
I mean, we've, this is like a big milestone, you've done 9 episodes and, maybe at some point we'll be having the 100th and we'll make a big party for that. But this is a big one. This is number 10. Do you think we should like do something special?
No. Anyway, what's our first letter? Let's take a look here. Let me just see. Not really. Are you ready for letters, by the way? I didn't ask you if you're ready. You gotta be ready.
I guess I'm ready.
Okay, all right, I'm ready too.
Did we introduce ourselves?
No, I didn't.
Okay, who are you?
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Howard.
Howard.
And I guess we should always just quickly say this is the Howard and Kevin Open Your Mail podcast. I know you said that.
Yeah.
And we have a website, howardandkevin.com.
Yes.
That's where you can get all our old episodes.
Correct.
I
feel like we've forgotten how this works.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like this is our first one again. It's only 10, but we've completely forgotten how the show works.
What are we here for?
I don't know what's going on.
Doing?
We're just completely unprepared.
Okay.
I think it's because you have a bit of a cold.
I do.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
I can. Well, I can. I don't know if the listeners can.
I'm sorry, listeners. I'm a little hoarse.
Yeah, we're actually broadcasting from Howard's hospital bed right now in Scarborough General.
I'm under the weather. What do you think that means? Under the weather.
I have no idea. Yeah.
You
know what? That'd be good for a follow-up. If I know you.
I am. The weather is over me.
It is. Yes.
If I said that, you think people would know what I was talking about?
I don't think so, but they might. People who are fans of weather might.
We're all under the weather to some degree, aren't we?
Well, I think so. Yeah.
Clouds are up
if
there.
you're a human being on the planet at this point, Neil Armstrong would have been above the weather at some point. But.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm not feeling great, but, I'm here to try to do our thing. So follow us on Twitter. This is what I was trying to get to.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say that's the spirit you have, that you can muster up the energy to, even though you're not feeling well, to come in and actually do another podcast.
Well, thank you for that, Kevin. It's those kinds of pep talks that keep me going.
Yeah.
So check us out on Twitter.
Yes, Twitter.
Check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook too.
Where you can subscribe to us on iTunes. And you know what that is, Kevin? It's free.
It is free.
All those things are free.
Everything we do
People
here
sitting
is
at
free.
home going, I checked them out on their website, but I can't afford the iTunes download. No, it's free.
All right, here we go. Dear Howard and Kevin, I enjoyed listening to your podcast. Today I was wondering if you like playing sports or watching sports on TV better. So that's somebody is asking us if we like playing sports or watching sports on TV better. That was Sharon from Saskatchewan. It's a good question.
Saskatchewan, Canada.
That's right.
Well, Sharon, thank you for your letter. It is a good question. People call themselves, a sports fan, but sometimes that can mean, different things, right? Do you prefer to play them or watch them?
Yeah, it's difficult.
What do you think?
It depends on the sport, I think, really, in the end. Because I like, I like watching baseball, but also playing it.
Mhm.
We play softball, which
Yes,
is
we do.
similar to baseball,
Of
but
course, yes.
slightly different. But yeah, something like hockey or basketball, I'm just no good at it. So I'd much prefer watching it on television. Plus, a lot less,
Sweaty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, sitting on the couch is a lot less energy using than.
You know what's funny is I feel like I want to say that I prefer playing because it seems like that's the thing that I should be believing, right? Because it's like that means I'm active and I'm out there and I'm doing things and I'm participating and enjoying the social and recreational aspect of it all. And, but when you really get down to the reality of my life,
yes,
I watch them a lot more than I play them.
No, exactly. That's
for
true.
the average, sort like us. On a Sunday afternoon, if there was a big game on, a playoff game or something like that of a sport you follow and enjoy, and then at the same time you got a phone call from some buddies who said, "Hey, we're all getting together out at the park, to whatever, play ball hockey or throw a football around or whatever it is."
Yeah.
What's your gut instinct to say? Yeah, screw the big game on TV. I'm going out to play.
Yeah, that's true.
Or do you say, go out to the park? Are you crazy? The big game's on.
It depends on the game. I mean, the Super Bowl was just last week, so I'm thinking that maybe you probably, if you had the choice between going out and playing shinny or something, like street hockey, or watching the Super Bowl, you probably would have watched the Super Bowl.
Now, when I was a kid, my buddies and I, not on Super Bowl, I don't think, but on Grey Cup, which is the championship day of the Canadian Football League, for all of our U.S. listeners, we would always, as a rule, for quite a few years in a row when we were kids, go out and play football, like just, touch football outside with our buddies, on Grey Cup Sunday.
Oh,
okay. It was always like a sort of an annual tradition.
Day. Yeah.
And we would play. So we did, both, right?
Oh, that's great.
We were having a full football day.
Be interesting if somehow you were forced to do that every time you wanted to watch a sporting event. If you want to watch the basketball game tonight, you have to go play 4 quarters of basketball before the game. That's how it works.
It'd be interesting to open some sort of theme. I don't know if it would be a bar, but some sort of recreational place that people can go, like people go bowling, let's say.
Yeah.
You could open a place where you could somehow, like people go to bars to watch a big game, right? If you could somehow have a place where you could do both, like you're playing the game, but then there's these giant screens around you or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, or you could even like act out the game. It's like, oh, there's LeBron goes up for a shot. Here's me going up for a shot.
The real game, or like a game you're playing? Like, is it like it's like a bar based around the Wii Sports? Or...
No, I'm saying like the real game between the Celtics and the Lakers is on.
Yeah.
While you're playing.
I see. Interesting. And drinking.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
True,
yeah. Well, I've heard there's bars that are opening up in Toronto that are themed to various, like there's apparently a ping pong based bar coming.
I heard about
Did you hear about that?
I saw that.
Which I think is a great idea. I love playing ping pong and drinking. And what was the other one? There was something else.
There's a bowling.
Bowling bar.
Like not just a regular bowling alley, but like a kind of
like a trendy bowling alley,
nightclub themed bowling alley with fancy cocktails and that sort of thing. Not just like Bud Light at the counter.
I know. I like that. I think that makes sense. I think
that'd be fun.
There was a bar in Toronto that was based around video games for a long time called Vinny's. I remember we went there once.
Yeah.
And
obviously pool halls are a dime a dozen, but there have been a couple in our city that are like upscale pool halls, like where they've tried to make it more of a fancy sort of place, not just. Anyway, so maybe our watch basketball while you play basketball themed bar will take off next.
Oh, that's good. We got to get that idea going. Of course, we've said it on the podcast now, but people out there...
It's out there.
Yeah.
There's probably already one open in New York City right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, between the time we mentioned it and
these
now...
two losers on a podcast mention this idea. I'm going to totally steal it.
That's right. Boom.
Just like a New Yorker.
So Sharon from Saskatchewan asked, do we like playing sports or watching sports on TV better?
I'm going to say watching.
Yeah, I'm going to lie and say playing.
Very
because
good.
I want to look like I'm an active guy.
No, it's good, and I like lying on the podcast.
I do like to watch a lot of sports. So,
Yeah.
But I mostly I'm an athletic.
You could just say you like both.
Yes. All right. I'll do that. I'll go with that.
You got a letter for us?
Thank you for your letter, Sharon from Saskatchewan.
Yeah, thanks.
The next letter on our 10th episode. Look at all the people coming in to party with us. Confetti. You said you didn't want to do anything, but I arranged it anyway. There they are.
What a display. Okay, go ahead.
There's cheerleaders coming. Careful, look out for them. Dear Howard and Kevin.
Yeah.
Do you think the Coyote will ever catch the Roadrunner? Says Harinder C. from Brampton, Ontario.
Wow.
That is a very interesting question, Harinder. Do you think the Coyote will ever catch the Roadrunner?
It is a good question. I'm thinking probably not. First of all, I don't think they make those cartoons anymore, so that's a problem right off the top.
But he's talking about the après film.
The après film?
The thing that you think about, I wonder what would happen. I wonder what happens after the movies.
Oh, okay.
To these characters.
Yeah.
When you're trying to think about,
that always kind of bugs me.
The couple got together at the end, but did they actually go on and get married and have a family together, or did they break up successfully?
I know. I hate those questions. I remember somebody once said, like, I wonder what Han Solo was like in high school. And I'm like, well, you can never know that. That's ridiculous. There's no movie about him in high school, so how could you possibly know? You know what I mean? It's a silly question, I think. But
do you think they even have high school in?
Probably. I'm thinking wherever the hell he was born.
Whatever planet he's from. Anyway, the Coyote and the Roadrunner. So, what I think is funny is that 99% of all the times we ever saw the Coyote, he was chasing the Roadrunner, right? Yeah. And he would fall over and get rocks dropped on his head and everything.
Yeah. Good.
But there were a handful of cartoons where the Coyote was going after Bugs Bunny.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And they were, I'm guessing they were earlier on, probably before they decided to give the Coyote his own series.
Right.
But in those ones,
They had the Roadrunner, and they came up with the Roadrunner, and they were kind of like, we need to hook him up with
we need a
somebody.
villain.
It's like when they bring two, movie stars together, you know what I mean? Like, to start dating.
So what I find funny is that in those ones with Bugs Bunny, the Coyote could talk. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
It was like, I'm Wile E. Coyote, genius.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Genius.
Yeah.
He would say things like, one mustn't argue with one's breakfast. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder why they got rid of that.
He and Bugs would actually talk, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, when he started going after the Roadrunner, he became mute.
Yeah, it's interesting.
They took his voice away.
Yeah.
But of course, the Roadrunner has a voice. Meep, meep.
Yeah, he would just do the meep thing. Yeah.
Meep, meep.
He didn't go to high school. He never learned to talk.
I think, though, that we must believe that the Roadrunner never gets caught.
I think so.
Don't you believe that it's important for the joy of children everywhere?
Course. Yeah. I think if the Roadrunner was caught and violently eaten by the Coyote, probably wouldn't be as entertaining as just having the Coyote fall off a cliff. And stuff.
You know what I always used to think is funny as a kid is like the Coyote has gotten to the point very early on in this series of cartoons where he has basically forgotten why he's after the Roadrunner, right? At first he's hungry, he wants a meal, right?
Yeah.
But after a while, he is willing to squash that Roadrunner. He's willing to blow it up with TNT.
Yeah.
He's willing to drop an anvil on him.
Yeah.
You know, like that thing is long past being edible.
I think he's just a hate-filled racist. I think that's what it's about. He just likes to kill Roadrunners.
He hates them. Yeah,
he hates them.
And so
you know,
eventually heed be like, "Yay, I blew him up!" And now what am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, he goes to find Bugs Bunny and gets his voice back.
Do you know I killed the Roadrunner?
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote.
And Bugs is like, yeah, I can't do it. I was about to do that.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
I think the simple answer to the question, do you think the Coyote will ever catch the Roadrunner, says Harinder C. of Brampton, Ontario?
No.
No. I think we say no.
Yes.
And, however, it's interesting to discuss.
It
I
is.
like that question.
I like any questions that have to do with fictional characters that we would have any insight into. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Harinder. You want to go with the next letter here on the exciting 10th episode?
Oh, God. Oh, the dancing girls are here. They're nice.
Yay.
Oh, they're talking to the cheerleader. Dear Howard and Kevin, are there any episodes from Howard and Kevin Open Your Mail that won't be remembered as an all-time classic? Just asking. Cheryl and T.O. That's a good question. I think she's referring to our synopses that we put out there for every episode that appear on our website.
Yes, our website, which is www.howardandkevin.com.
That's right.
And every episode we put a little
Yes.
blurb, some show
right.
notes, a little synopsis that we post there.
And we refer to every episode as an all-time classic, which I think they are. I mean,
do.
we're just admitting the truth.
That's right.
Everyone is hilarious.
Although Cheryl wonders, are there any episodes that won't be remembered as an all-time classic?
This one might be. depending on the rest of the 10 minutes goes in this one. I'm thinking this one might be not an all-time classic. But
Episode 10.
yeah. I think that's pretty much correct. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to keep putting that on there just for fun. I think
Not just for fun, because it's true.
Well, no, yeah, exactly.
Truth in advertising.
Exactly. Every single one will be a classic.
That's right. So listen to them all, Cheryl and T.O.
The way we can do that is maybe if this is our last episode ever. Because we wouldn't have a chance.
I'm deathly ill.
Yeah, because you're ill. No, yeah. I'll have to do one next week. Howard died, so we can't do anymore. No, but if you do like a nice finite little collection of things, then you never have the chance for them to go terrible. They will always be all-time classics. Like a TV series like Faulty Towers.
Yes.
There are like 12 episodes of that show.
And
everyone is gold, and there'll never be any more. And then they could just be remembered. Something like Roseanne, the TV show Roseanne.
Right.
A couple of good seasons there at the start, and then just like 8 seasons of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just goes on forever.
And yeah, you can't possibly. You're going to have ups and downs.
Exactly. Yeah.
So are you saying we should just wrap it up?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe 10 was too many. Maybe we should have stopped at 9.
Bridge too far. Yeah, maybe 9 is a nice not round number.
No, you don't have any idea what I have planned for episode 100. So we've got to get there.
In this one, we've got cheerleaders. We've got dancing girls.
Yeah.
There was
not the same.
Not the same thing.
No.
They do a similar activity, but they're dressed in different things. You had, I think Scott Baio was here, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
He came in as a special guest.
Gave a little wave.
Yeah, he did.
We have confetti
You know what?
cannons.
It's not Scott Baio. It's a fake Scott Baio. It's one of those like lookalikes you can rent for your party. Who comes by and just hangs out of those. It's the weirdest thing ever. Those things.
Yeah. Scott Baio came cheap. The Scott Baio lookalike.
Yeah. Scott's Mayo.
All right. Dear Howard and Kevin, long-time listener, first-time writer. I like that.
That's good. Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Jeff. I'm giving it away. It's a guy named Jeff. I, like many of you, I'm
Spoiler
sure. I, like many of you, I'm sure, was elated when that delightful Ryan Reynolds was named People's Sexiest Man Alive for 2011.
Oh, yeah.
I was elated. You're going to have to tell me later who Ryan Reynolds is.
It's Debbie Reynolds' son.
Is he actually?
No.
Oh, okay. That I care about.
Yeah. Right? That would be like, because it's Carrie Fisher's.
Oh, yeah,
daughter,
right? Of course,
So,
yeah.
That would work.
However, I also discovered that People magazine is owned by Time Warner, the same studio responsible for Reynolds' upcoming movie juggernaut, The Green Lantern.
Oh my God.
Is this all a sham?
Ugh.
Am I being a conspiracy theorist, or is Ryan Reynolds really not the sexiest man alive? And this is merely a marketing stunt for an upcoming comic book movie adaptation?
Good point.
Signed, Jeff from Brampton. Whoa.
I think Jeff from Brampton has just exposed a gigantic conspiracy.
He has blown the lid off
this crazy...
Oh my goodness gracious.
And everybody's implicated. The studio, People magazine, Jeff from Brampton, they're all implicated in it. Maybe not that last one, but the first two for sure.
And definitely Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds for sure.
Well, it seems to me like somebody should go back and see who all the sexiest men alive were.
And did they all have movies coming out?
Doing that. And did they all have movies coming out from Time Warner? You know,
I'm starting to think that maybe the People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive is not as prestigious as we're led to believe it is. I'm starting to think that maybe it may be connected to some sort of publicist getting their.
I would be neat to say People's Sexiest Man Alive 2012 is like some guy who works in some little town in the Ukraine.
I know, there's got to be someone out there.
You know, Georgy Mishanov, and he's like, I work in a coal mine,
but he's way cuter than
sexy.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Now they had actually really combed the world.
Yeah, it's interesting that they always seem to be some sort of celebrity, an
funny.
actor or a singer that is already around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, that's funny.
Wow. Well, that's a very interesting thing. He's got the new movie coming out, The Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
And wow.
Now, in People magazine's defense, they always pick some sort of celebrity that is active in movies. Wouldn't they always just have a movie coming out soon?
Maybe it should just be called The Sexiest Movie Star Who Has a Movie Coming Out Alive.
I don't.
And in People magazine's defense, they are People magazine.
That's also a point.
We can't really expect an extraordinary amount of journalistic integrity.
No,
there.
exactly. Yeah. They're not the Utney Reader.
I'm not sure if anyone's sitting at home going, well, I can't wait for Howard's follow-up on this to find out how he's done research on every sexiest man alive ever done.
Go back to
I'm not sure we're actually going to do this.
Yeah, but just do maybe I'll do my own follow-up.
Okay.
We'll do Kevin's follow-ups too, maybe next episode. And I'll find out who last year's was and see if they had a movie coming out at some point.
Yeah.
So it's Sexiest Man Alive. Do they do Sexiest Woman Alive as well?
I don't know.
I'm going to follow up with that as well, because I'd like to know who the Sexiest Woman Alive is.
I think they probably felt, I don't know, maybe they felt that was too cliche or something.
I see.
Well, that is a very interesting piece of news. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, we blew the lid off that. Thanks, Jeff.
Looks like I'll have to find something else to read on the toilet.
Maybe the Utney Reader.
So, what do you think, Kevin?
Well, I think, Howard, if I'm not mistaken, around this time every podcast, we do something called Howard with Follow-Ups. Yeah, that's good.
I forgot to do that over when you were talking there, but it'll do.
We still haven't got that right. We've been doing it like 5 episodes in a row. It doesn't work.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Happy to be here with Follow-Ups. We'll try to make this quick, but one thing I'd like to say is that the last time we did Follow-Ups, we looked at episode 5. So I looked at episode 6.
Yeah.
Guess what? Nothing to follow up.
No follow-ups. Oh, my God.
We were like right on the money.
Wow,
we had everything figured out. We had it all just right. We answered all the questions perfectly. We had no mistakes. Wow. No bits left undiscussed.
I see.
So that's episode 6. Followed up.
Okay, good.
Opened and closed.
Well, that was...
Oh, let's jump ahead to episode 7, shall we?
Yeah.
Since we wouldn't want to disappoint all our follow-ups fans.
Do you think people listen to the podcast specifically for the follow-ups?
I think
they
so.
Fast forward to the first 25 minutes and just go right to the follow-ups.
It's kind of like when you read a magazine.
Yeah.
Like say National Geographic or that kind of a magazine.
Yeah.
And then you know that 2 or 3 episodes later you're going to read the letters to the editor about the article that you're reading now.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
you sort of think, oh, I wonder what someone's going to say about that. Ooh,
no, I know.
It's kind of like the same.
Sure.
So episode 7, we were discussing. We got a letter about a young lady wrote us about the fact that she bought a calendar and got it home and put it up on the wall and realized that it was designed with the Monday in the first column, and it was very confusing because we're used to seeing the Sunday in the first column. So we were talking about that a little bit, and we were trying to figure out what the heck.
Yeah.
And I think I have a little bit of insight onto that.
Okay.
So first thing is that the calendars that have the Monday in the first column seem to all be coming out of Europe. So if you're buying a calendar that was manufactured in Europe for a European market, the Europeans seem more open to trying to change this over to a thing that makes more sense in their day-to-day lives, having Monday in the first and the weekend at the end.
Right, okay.
But anything in North America has not gone there.
Okay.
But the other thing that we talked about on that regard is that we discussed how Sunday is, in sort of church world, the
church world,
the day of rest, right? So it's the last day, so why is it first? But here's the thing that we didn't really think about at the time. We weren't really thinking about our biblical history, Kevin.
Oh, I hate when we don't think about our biblical history.
I know.
Oh,
so what I read about is that the Old Testament, where Genesis happens and God,
Genesis, ELO, Rush, all those prog rock bands from the
exactly,
70s, yeah.
And God creates the heaven and the earth and all that jazz,
right?
And rests on the seventh day. But the Old Testament was written long before Jesus came around.
Yeah, he's in the New Testament,
right? So the Jewish world has Saturday as their Sabbath. The calendar, in that sense, is set up with Saturday being the last day of the week.
Oh, interesting.
So from that point of view, it actually does make sort of biblical sense.
Right, okay.
Even though it doesn't make sense from the point of view of our practical lives.
It's just another thing the Jews have brought.
And apparently I read this thing that in the early days of Christianity, the people following this new faith, Christianity, were still having their like meetings, their church time in the synagogues, because that's all there was, because it was early on.
Okay.
But the synagogues were already busy on Saturday. So it was, they were busy with the Jewish people.
Sure.
So it was really a scheduling conflict.
Really, that's what caused
So they started to say, well, maybe we should have our things on Sundays.
Okay.
And it caught on.
Oh, that's so interesting. Wow.
So that's kind of the reason. Saturday's the Sabbath in that sense.
Right.
And Christianity switched it over to the Sunday, but the calendars never really followed suit, and that's kind of the point of why it is that the calendar sometimes starts on a Sunday.
Oh, that's interesting.
But let's switch it.
Oh, you would say that, you weird European.
The next subject to follow up from episode 7 was we have two things to follow up, two little sections, but they both came out of the same letter. And that was the letter from our friend Jared in Oklahoma, who joked with us about some Canadian stereotypes, and we joked back with some Oklahoma stereotypes. Yep. And the subject of Canadian bacon came up, and we asked the question, why is it even called Canadian bacon? We don't call it Canadian bacon here in Canada.
No.
Why did they call it Canadian bacon? How did that ever even come to be?
Right.
So it's a funny little thing, and basically, there's a couple of interesting little points here, and that is that, firstly, there's regular old bacon that everybody knows what that is. So just put that aside for a second. That's fine. Yeah. But there's what we call back bacon in Canada.
Right.
Is a certain part of the pork that has been cured and then rolled in pea meal. We sometimes call it pea meal bacon.
Yeah, that's true.
The funny thing is that they don't actually use pea meal anymore. They use cornmeal. So even though we call it pea meal bacon, it's actually cornmeal bacon. Okay. But that's back bacon. It's been cured. But the stuff that they call Canadian bacon in the States, at least in certain parts of the States, is a similar part of the meat, but it's cured and smoked. So it's more like ham. Yeah. It's not even the same thing that we even get up here. So that's the funny thing. What they call Canadian bacon,
we don't even have it.
We don't even have it. Never mind do we call it that. Wow. And apparently the theory is that around the turn of the century, like from the 1800s into the 1900s, England had a pork shortage and began importing pork sides from Canada and would smoke that meat to make bacon.
Okay.
And somehow the Americans got the idea that bacon from Canada was smoked. So this whole thing that went from Canada to England and somehow into the U.S., they somehow got the idea that if you smoke the bacon,
Right.
it's a Canadian thing to do.
I see.
Which it never was. It was the English who were doing that to it in the first place.
Wow.
So it's all just a big misunderstanding.
It's just a big misunderstanding.
Right. So the point, and there's even this company I came across on the website called RealCanadianBacon.com or whatever.
Really?
That's trying to sell actual back bacon, P-meal style back bacon to Americans, basically saying what you've been eating is not real Canadian bacon. You need this, which is still something that we like regular bacon anyway.
Well, the good thing about Americans is they love taking on new things. Metric system, they're big with change. They love that. Anyway, go ahead.
Also, that same letter from Jared in Oklahoma, we had talked about the whole stereotypes thing. He wrote us back, so we got a nice letter back from Jared. He says, "Hey guys, thanks for the mention on the show. Following up, here are the Oklahoma stereotypes I live up to. Yes, I had a pickup truck until last year when it died on me. Aw. I haven't worn a cowboy hat since I was 5, but I did work on a farm for 6 years."
Wow, that is pretty stereotyped.
Yep. He says, "I lived on 1,000 acres for 8 years, but now I live in a town of 5,000.
Jeez.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he moved to the big city.
Yeah.
Football here is a religion, probably the way hockey is for you."
Yeah.
Hockey? What's that again? Hockey?
We call it ice hockey.
Yeah, if you say hockey, we assume you're talking about field hockey.
Exactly. We don't get it. Oh, you mean ice hockey? Yeah, with the skates.
Yes. He said he explains that the two main college teams in Oklahoma are the Oklahoma State Cowboys and the Oklahoma Sooners. We had mentioned that.
Oh, yeah,
we asked,
Sooners,
what the heck? What's a Sooner?
Yeah, what is a Sooner?
So he says, Sooner refers to people who entered and occupied the land prior to the land run of 1889, the official opening time. So I guess this was a thing in history where people were told, as soon as we open up the gates to Oklahoma, you can all go in there and grab yourself a farm.
Okay, right.
And a bunch of people went in ahead of the official date.
Oh, sooner than everyone else?
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
So as he points out, they were basically cheaters.
Oh, I see.
He says that he thinks the university has tried to spin the name recently, but since it's something from over 100 years ago, nobody really thinks about it now anyway.
It's a lot of that in the States.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff based around things that used to be based on racism.
Right, yeah. The Washington Redskins.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bunch of native people going, what?
Yeah, what? What are you
seriously? You're calling it what?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of spinning going on.
Yeah. Anyway, he says, I hope things are well in Canada. Tell Joey Jeremiah and Snake hello.
Oh, good. Yeah, Degrassi. Nice.
Back bacon, Zed, a boot. From Jared. All right, well, thank you, Jared. Thanks for your note.
Yeah, good.
That's Jared from the To Amuse Me podcast.
That's right.
On podbean.com.
Very funny.
So check it out.
Check it out.
Anyway, that's episode 7. Followed up, Kevin.
Well, and I think that's episode 10 done, Howard.
Whoa.
Wow, it was a good one, wasn't it?
Whoa. It blows my mind.
Maybe also be our longest episode. Jeez, those follow-ups.
Well, it is episode 10, so it's like you get a bonus.
Okay, that's right.
It's kind of special.
All right. It was on sale, and there's a little bonus. Like when you buy one shampoo, but you get a little shampoo along with it.
The little
mini shampoo.
Or like when you buy like a pack of vitamins and it says, ordinarily 60, but special bonus 75.
Exactly, and it's a little bit more money.
Larger container.
Right.
That's what we got here, folks. It's the bonus.
Yeah, we're the large container of vitamins of comedy.
Of podcast.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
And we enjoy having you along, and we certainly look forward to having you come next time. It's HowardandKevin.com. Check us out there to hear all our old episodes, see our show notes, and enjoy all the other little fun things there. Follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook and like us. Subscribe to us on iTunes.
There's so many things you can do.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Well, thanks, Howard.
Doctor?
And don't forget, everyone, go to HowardandKevin.com where you can send us a letter, which we might just read and answer on
Howard and Kevin, open your mail.